All right, and our last piece for ellipses is flipping to that very back page of identifying conics and looking at how do we put something in general form into standard form so that we can actually tell what's the center, what are the vertices, what are the co-vertices, things like that. Okay, so first thing we're going to do is group just like we did before. So lucky us, there is no x, there's just an x squared. Okay, then we have y squared minus 6y. We're going to want to complete that square, so we're going to put a blank there. That's what it was called when we were adding things to circles. So I highly encourage, if you still don't get completing the square with circles, to go back and work on that before doing this. And that's going to equal 27, and then add to that whatever we added for our answer here. So just like before, it's going to be b, which is -6. So we're going to add b over 2 squared to both sides. So I'll zoom in on that because that was a little small. So we have, did nothing here. This becomes, so if I'm thinking about just this big group here, -6 divided by 2 is -3, squared is +9, and then I get 27 plus 9 on this side. So then this factors to y minus 3 quantity squared equals 36. So here's where it becomes different from circles. We need this to always equal 1. Okay. So 36 divided by 36 is how I'm going to get 1. But if I divide there, I have to divide all the way across. So I get x squared plus y minus 3 quantity squared over 36 equals 1. And I'm already finished. Remember that x squared is like being over 1, but it is not necessary to put it over 1. Okay. And let's look at one more that is slightly harder and more things could go wrong, but I have faith in you. We can do this. So we're going to group the x's together. Okay. We're going to group the y's together. Notice I didn't put my lines out there yet. That's on purpose. And then I'll go ahead and take the constant to the other side. Okay. If I look at just these two, I see that they have a 9 in common. I'm going to factor that out to the front so that I'm left with x squared minus 10x. And this is where I'm going to add something. So that definitely changes from what we've done before. I'm going to do the same thing here for the y's. So there, I'm going to factor out 4. And then I'll have my something to add. Equals -193. And I'm going to have 2 lines. Now, this is where it gets really tricky and people mess up. Yes, I'm going to add b over 2 squared there. But because of the distributive property, I'm actually going to have 9 times whatever I add there. And 4 times whatever I add there. So I'm actually going to have 9 times that and 4 times the b over 2 squared. So adding b over 2 squared, adding b over 2 squared, add the same thing to the other side of the equation. So now I have 9 times the quantity of x squared minus 10x Negative 10 divided by 2 is negative 5 squared is 25. And then negative 2 divided by 2 is negative 1 squared is positive 1. And then on this side I have negative 93 plus 9 times 25 plus 4 times 1. Doesn't look like it, but I promise you we're getting there. Okay. We'll do the right hand side first because that's easy. We add that all together to get 36. On this side, how does that factor? Well, this becomes x minus 5 quantity squared. Leave the 9 out front. I'm going to leave the 4 out front, and this becomes y minus 1 quantity squared. So I can now see that my center is at 5, 1. And last, I need to divide by 36 all the way across because I need it to be equal to 1 for my final answer. Hopefully something's clicking here. I have a fraction there and a fraction there that can both be reduced. And when I reduce those fractions, I get 1/4. And I get 1/9 as my final answer. So these are a little bit harder. It does take a little more practice, but they are doable. They test your algebra skills, and when you finally accomplish one, it's a really good feeling.